Over the past 4 years, I've often been thankful for 4 persons. The first is the law intern Roshan Celestine Gomez. Roshan witnessed the abduction of Raymond Cole. He took time out of his busy day to go and make a police report. He took the time to wait at the police station for his statement to be recorded. Thanks to his report, the local police swung into action and began investigating the abduction. Despite his car being broken into while parked away from his home, his bag being taken, and then mysteriously returned at his home, he testified bravely and openly at the Suhakam inquiry. If not for Roshan, we may never know how Raymond disappeared. The second is a person or persons whose identity remains unknown. This person used the CCTV recordings of Raymond's abduction and made the 3-minute annotated video clip which went viral after it was published by the Star. Now we can all say 7, 15, 40 and be understood as meaning 7 vehicles, 15 persons, and 14 seconds. If not for this unknown person, the abduction of Raymond would not have become a national issue. The third is a security guard, Yusri Khalid. Though it was a rainy night, Yusri and his colleagues responded to a vehicle which they saw leaving a wooded area suspiciously. Despite the bad weather, he immediately went to the local police station and reported what they saw and heard. And found. They had found Amri's car, windows broken, identification marks removed. If not for Yusri's prompt report, the local police would not have swung into action and rapidly identified that the car was the one used daily by Amri Chekmat. The fourth is a member of the Special Branch, Sergeant Shamzaini. In a fit of remorse over wrongdoing in the police force, in the dark of night, he revealed critical information to Amri's wife. Thanks to the information he gave, Suhakam could draw a very credible conclusion. Sadly, and most likely due to pressure from his superiors and peers, Shamzaini retracted his statement. Despite this, I am thankful for him. It's to be noted that although he perjured himself, it seems he has not been the subject of any disciplinary action or criminal prosecution. Roshan and Yusri believed we have a criminal justice system in Malaysia. The right thing to do if we suspect a crime has been committed is to make a police report and to cooperate with the police in the subsequent investigation. We expect the police to investigate. We expect the Attorney General to prosecute. We expect the judiciary to conduct a trial. As the Suhakam inquiry into the disappearances of Amri and Raymond progressed, it became very clear that the local police did mobilize quickly. In fact, minus a few hiccups, they moved fast in the first few hours. It also became clear that over time, perhaps after they became aware of who the victims were or because of directions from their superiors at the federal level, the investigation crawled to tortoise pace. I must add that the federal police connected the cases of the disappearances of Amri Chekmat, Joshua Helmi, and Ruth Sitepu and Raymond Cole. The investigating officer in the Raymond Cole case testified that he received instructions from a DCP Datuk Huzair, Deputy Director of Intelligence and Operations, in the Federal Police Headquarters in Bukit Aman. The Federal Police were controlling the investigations. It's worth noting that 6 weeks after Suhakam issued its reports, Huzair was promoted to the rank of Commissioner and is now head of the Criminal Investigation Department. It was also clear that the police officers who testified were highly intelligent men. They could connect the dots, just like we could, and just like Suhakam did in its final reports. Suhakam highlighted 4 common features in the disappearances. 1. Religious issues. Amri and Raymond were members of minority expressions of faith, involved in doing charity work, which the state felt was being used as a pretext for conversion. 2. Direct surveillance. Both Amri and Raymond were monitored by the Special Branch and the religious authorities. 3. Similar modus operandi. Similar vehicles were involved and the same boxing in procedure was used. 4. Presence of a gold Toyota Vios. The police tried to conceal the identity of this car. However, thanks to whistleblower Sergeant Shamzaini, they had to reveal that the car was owned by an employee of the police. Those of us who watched as police officers were questioned during the Suhakam inquiry began to conclude that some police witnesses themselves believed police were somehow involved in the abductions. So we were not surprised when Suhakam concluded that the Special Branch did it. It's now 22 months since Suhakam issued its findings. It's now 20 months since the so-called investigation task force was formed by the then Home Minister Muhyiddin Yassin. From the beginning we said it's a bogus task force. Its members were initially all males, all Muslims. This, in a case which clearly involved Muslim elements. 2 of its members were police officers, 1 retired, 1 serving. Dato Mokhtar was the officer commanding the officers who represented the police during the inquiry. To his credit, in response to public clamour, Mokhtar resigned. Dato Zamri is the head of JIPS, the Integrity, Standards and Compliance Unit of the police force. This is one of the units of the police which ought to be investigated by the task force. However, despite the clear conflict of interest and public clamour, Zamri did not resign. The person appointed chairman of the task force is a High Court judge who retired early. Dato Abdul Rahim Uda was the judge who upheld the coroner's open verdict in the Teo Beng Hock case, a verdict which was later overturned by a panel of Court of Appeal judges, including Dato Ma Weng Kwai, the chairman of the Suhakam panel of inquiry. Because of this, we said he has a conflict of interest and should not be appointed, but he did not do the honourable thing. He did not resign. In response to public clamour, Muhyiddin appointed 2 others to the task force, 1 Malay Muslim lady and a Chinese non-Muslim man. But Muhyiddin retained the choice of a relatively junior, conflicted judge as chairman. Also, the composition of the task force was very different from that recommended by Suhakam in its reports. What Suhakam called for was feet on the ground, to pursue leads the police failed to pursue. Instead, the government appointed 7 people to review Suhakam's findings. I say this because of the profiles of the persons appointed and because the government refused to publish their terms of reference. It's now 14 months since the task force was to submit its report. We know from a news report that they asked for an extension to write their report. It's likely that they submitted the report 12 months ago. What are their findings? Will we ever find out? I think we'll only find out if thousands of us shout out that we have the same expectations as Roshan, Yusri, and the unknown person who made the video. But what can we do to make the government and the police act against those who ordered, condoned, or conducted the enforced disappearances? How can the victims be found? How can their families get closure? I think the answer is to become politically engaged. Write to your MP, go and meet him or her, go with others, demand that police reform is put high on the political agenda, make it a campaign issue, be riled up about every abuse of police power, not just enforced disappearances. Ask questions, send reminders, put it on social media, tell stories, share stories, organize and join marches, make police reports, dare to believe that justice can be restored in Malaysia. Embrace a life of discomfort so that the future can be better. Become a persistent virus for good. Will you join the struggle to restore justice in Malaysia?